Unlike some mindfulness meditations that don't always incorporate the heart coherence is the key to building a solid practice, and more teachers are beginning to embrace this approach. Now, for the past 18 months, we've been practicing, especially this. By the way, the HeartMath Institute, there is a study that was done. I think we sent out that link earlier on during our sessions that we had 18 months ago. If you want that again, just reach out to Seth. He'll send that again. So we've been practicing the heart and brain coherence meditations together. This work not only benefits us individually, but also contributes to global transformation. By maintaining these elevated states of internal coherence, we help turn the chaos of the world into a more harmonious state, leading to healthier lives and a healthier planet. Many of us have experienced trauma, anxiety, depression. I mean, as I said, the topics are basically countless. It goes on and on. But all these things have disconnected us from our true selves. So doing a lot of this, we're essentially deprogramming ourselves and going back to the basics, going back to the root, going back to the foundation. So through this practice, by choosing to open our hearts and cultivate love from within, we can return to wholeness and live with greater passion and purpose. So with that said, I'm going to pass it right over to Seth. Thank you so much, Seth, for us and everybody collectively as a community that we build out here do these weekly coherence meditations, and free of charge, guys. So please come on over. We're trying to get that millionth monkey now.
Beautifully said. Yeah, and my gosh, everything you shared, it just brought up this flurry of things that I would love to share with everybody. But for the sake of time, I'll just do a little bit of commentary on it and we'll get into the meditation. And I want to tell people in advance that I just found out that my uncle, who's one of my favorite relatives, probably my most favorite relative, died today. And as soon as I found out, tears were just pouring down my face, and I haven't allowed myself to start to grieve it yet because I've been so busy and I'm doing so many things. So after this meditation, I'm gonna do that. And it's one of these things where it's like we have so many people in our lives that we love and that we care about, and I'm not asking anybody to feel pity or sorrow for me. I mean, it's okay if you feel that naturally, but I want to devote this meditation tonight to him, to my other family that is, his kids and his wife. I love all of them so much, and I really appreciate that. But I do want to mention a couple things that Greg said, because the EE system is something that I never planned on getting involved with. I didn't search it out. I didn't look for it. It was something that just happened because, for those who know, I have a spring water company in the state of Maine, and we prevented Nestle from getting the spring and ruining it forever. And it's mostly all sold in New England and Maine. And people are telling me that there's these people who own a spa near me that are charging the water in this EE system. And they're like, you gotta go. And I went, and Tam, the lady who owns the place, she didn't even know that we do these meditations. And when I walked in there, we both just knew, we were like, okay, we're gonna do this. This is exactly how it's gonna be. And it's funny because my mind just started going through all these different, I had my own kind of constriction or my own resistance to it, while at the same time feeling it and being like, oh my God, this is amazing, And my resistance to it is, and this is part of what Greg was saying, heart and brain coherence is simply the beginning. And when we get in tune with our life force, this energy, this impossible to describe beyond genius, intelligence, miracle of life that is causing everybody's heart to beat. Our entire sense of self is literally only here because of that. But we grow up and we live in a world where nobody really teaches us that. And most of our ancestors and our family, and even the ones alive now, they don't know this. Deep down, they do. Deep down in everybody, there's an innate knowing. But most don't know this. And so we are all really blessed in the sense that now, more than ever, with everything happening in the world, we are all having this profound opportunity to get back in tune with this miracle of life that causes the heart to beat, that allows us to exist at all. And even in our limitations, we all are so connected to this life force energy, even if we don't think we are. Even the words that we speak, the language, it's almost like that keeps us from realizing and recognizing what we all truly are. Because the reality is that we're not separate from this miracle. This miracle of life is closer to us than our own heartbeat. And the more that we as individuals start to get in tune with that, we find that it isn't just heart and brain coherence. There is brain coherence where you're so in tune with your life force that your brain begins to form all these patterned brain waves that are really profound in the sense that they are syncopated with the degree of awareness that you have for your own life force, for your own life in this world. And when the heart gets into coherence, when all this life force, this miracle of life, this energy that it isn't in us, it is us, it is animating us, it's causing the heart to beat, it's causing the brain to have all these different feelings and knowings and perception of self and reality. And the more we attune ourselves to what is already there, the more the brain starts to organize itself in all these coherent patterns, the more the heart starts to do it. And from there, the opportunity for every organ and gland and fluid in our body starts to become so organized, so powerful. And here's the thing, to just give an idea of what I'm referencing, when you look at crystals, or if you look at the idea of the tree of life, any living being, whether, no matter what it's made from, if you were to zero in on it enough, you would see that all of us and everything, this life force is there because there is patterns. There's this intricate structure of reality that allows this life force to interact with our being. And it's almost like a battery. And there's energy there. There's energy in our body, even if we're not aware of it. But when we start to become aware of it, the body becomes charged with the energy that's already there. And as we become aware of it, we have the opportunity to amplify this energy that is there. And this is where it begins to go to a whole new level, because if we're not conscious of what we are, there's just a limited amount of energy in and around our being. Most people are born and they die not ever having even known that energy intimately. And so that energy doesn't have an opportunity to expand or grow beyond its already innate programming or functioning. And when we become aware of it, we literally are gifted the opportunity to amplify it, to allow these bodies to suddenly have access to un unknowable amounts of power, of energy that can only be known by our relationship to it. And so this is happening. And I'm going to tie this into the EE system because it's so obvious to anybody paying attention that look at our world. Look at what happened in the past 100 years. I mean, who knows how long these bodies have adapted to a non-technological world. You know, our bodies have adapted to the external reality over time, and it's used to it. But now, out of nowhere, because of the Industrial Revolution, which isn't really a revolution, it is, but it's so destructive that it's not sustainable. And we all know that. But the crazy thing about it is the amount of not just EMFs, but there's radio waves, satellite waves, there's electromagnetic frequencies of all different spectrums throughout the cars we drive. The food we eat is all made with it. I mean, it is everywhere. And it seemingly came out of nowhere. And these bodies haven't had the opportunity to adapt to it for as quickly as it has come and become a part of our lives. And this is where the opportunity is, because if we keep going the way that everybody in our ancestry has gone, if we just keep living, and we're going to run these bodies into the ground just like sorry, as I'm saying this, I'm feeling a lot and it's coming up. When I went into this room with the EE system, which I encourage everybody to look up and check out, my resistance to it was like, well, we can achieve these amplified states of being that are organic, that come from within us, that we choose to activate. But I just had this feeling like, oh my God, okay, all the machines that are creating discordant or artificial energy that isn't even coherent. I mean, they're just, technology is just trying to send a signal from one thing to another, and it's running on very low levels of incoherent artificial energy. But if all that stuff's happening, it just made perfect sense that there are equipment, there are devices that are made by our hands that actually can help us adapt, just like all of the artificial electromagnetic frequencies from all these machines can be tough for our body to adapt to. There are machines like this EE system that will support us. And it's almost like they create a deflection of all that, because the organic life force of these bodies is so powerful. But if we don't know that, and if we're not focused on it, then it just diminishes, and we become victims in a way, in the sense that we don't even know how much of our energy is getting sucked out of us. And until we learn that, till we get in tune with it, then we don't ever have to worry about any of that, because the source from where each of us comes from is so incomprehensibly powerful that all of the artificial stuff happening here, which is everywhere on this world, it's like this big. All that stuff is nothing. So let's integrate into meditation with all of that.
You know, I was just sorry I
Go ahead, no,
interrupt
say
really
it.
quick. I was
Please.
literally just thinking probably a good way to maybe explain that. And I'm just thinking about the EE system is you know noise cancellation headphones like Bose headphones and
Mhm.
everything. So the
Yeah.
EE system is kind of from my research, the past year and a half or so, it's kind of like it's canceling out, some of those other frequencies, but
Yeah.
then getting your body in attune with the proper frequencies, right? Is that the way that you experience it when you went in
That,
there?
so yeah, there's no doubt about it. Everybody that I've seen walk out of that room, huge smiles on their face, they're glowing. It's amazing. But when we know that we have access to this miracle of life that is there and within us, it's almost like, yeah, that technology cancels out all of the other stuff that our body's struggling to adapt with. Like we're anxiety and stress, and there's this biochemical frequency response to the toxicity of the world around us that our body's always trying to adapt to or compete with. And when you're in a state of total coherence from the inside out, that'll all be deflected anyway. But getting to that point, especially when you're in the presence of a machine like this, it deflects it, and you have the safe space within you, and your body has that break. It can just relax and it can chill out. And when we get into these states of coherence, which, again, like I was saying, it's not just the brain and the heart, it is every part of our being that has the ability to get so profoundly in harmony with this life force that we are. And when we do that, we remember, we know why we came here. We have the direct experience of how powerful this energy is, and everything that ever held us back before dissipates and it goes away. And so the part of you that was in resistance or that was afraid or stuck, that part of you dies, goes away. And what you become is probably what the next level of our species has the potential to be. And you know what? If it wasn't for all the madness in the world, if it wasn't for all the artificial technology, who knows when we would have the opportunity to literally make a quantum leap in our own evolutionary awareness. And that's what's happening in the world. The insanity of it, everything happening, it's so distracting and it can be so stressful. But when we look at it as an opportunity, literally, to take a quantum leap in our own evolutionary process as this life force animating these beings and having its own journey, this energy has a journey that goes way beyond everything that happens in these lives. And when we get in tune with it here in this life, we begin to experience just how much this soul has journeyed, and how incarnating here and being in these bodies offers us a possibility and an opportunity to not only adapt and move beyond everything in our past, but it allows us to be like tuning forks. But we don't need mechanical stress to cause it to make a tone. We are that. And when we get in tune with that, all of our ancestors, all of our lineage from behind us, who are also all made out of this, but it's discoherent. It's not in a state of coherent energy. But when we are, all of that corrects itself and we become conscious of it in these bodies. And I mean, I think you guys understand what we're getting at here. So let's keep this going, but let's get really calm.